Next speaker is Bruno Courcelle. Bruno Courcelle, he is well known for his work in automata and logic and for Courcelle's theorem. So welcome, Bruno. Bruno, you can start it. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation. Can you see my slides?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So my talk is about order theoretic trees and monadic second order logic and regularity. So the topic concerns countable generalized dense trees. Dense is similar to the notion of a dense linear order, like the set of rational numbers. These trees can have algebraic descriptions by means of infinite terms, and regular trees, generalized trees, are those defined by regular terms. And the main result is that regularity is equivalent to monadic second order definability. So this result extends a lot of previous results of the same flavor, in particular one by Boris Trachtenbrot about regularity of set of terms and monadic second order definability. Going back to my dense objects, a special case of generalized words has been studied by myself. I call this generalized word arrangements, and by Stefan Heilbrunner and Wolfgang Thomas. And the result by Wolfgang Thomas will be extremely useful for my proofs. An arrangement is defined as a linearly finite or countable set, which is linearly ordered, and labeling mapping going from this set to a finite alphabet. So this is a generalized word. And in a natural way, one can define concatenation. So given two such arrangements, their concatenation, W times W prime, is the unions of the domains ordered by the concatenation of orders, usually denoted by a plus operation, which is not commutative. And the labeling mapping extends both of W and W prime. Omega is the empty arrangement, and there is a single element that defines an elementary arrangement. So an infinite term can denote an arrangement, and I call it the value of the infinite term. Examples are, for instance, the word AB to the omega, so the standard infinite word AB, 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 which is defined in this way by this term. And you have also BA minus omega. So that is, if you think the mirror image of AB to the omega, which is defined by this infinite term. And the set Q of rational numbers, where all numbers are labeled in the same way by A, is defined by the term that is a unique solution of the equation T equal T times A times T. And now if you wish to solve the equation U equal U times U, then you get omega, because by the way, you see no elementary element going in the equation. An arrangement is regular if it is defined by a term that is regular. An infinite term is regular if it has finitely many distinct subterms. So regarding the above examples, all of them are regular. Theorem proved by Wolfgang Thomas, and we've also some equivalence by Stefan Heilbrunner, says that an arrangement is regular if and only if it is monadic second order definable, that is a unique model of a monadic second order sentence, if and only if it is defined by a certain regular expression. Actually, I will not use these regular expressions in this talk, but so my main result here is the equivalence between regularity and monadic second order definability, which I will extend to trees. So now, order theoretic trees and forests. An order theoretic forest is a countable partial order such that the set of elements larger than any way is linearly ordered. It is an order theoretic tree if any two elements have an upper bound, and it is a joint tree if any two elements have a least upper bound. That is called their join. Okay. So a rooted tree in the usual sense, where nodes are ordered by the ancestor relation, are joint trees, and the root is the maximal element. But the novelty is that a branch is this new notion of forest or tree can be a dense linear order. Okay. Actually, finitely many operations can generate all joint trees up to isomorphisms, of course, by means of infinite terms. So I have studied that in a previous article published in Logical Methods in Computer Science. And I proved that a joint tree is regular if and only if it is a monadic second order definable, where monadic second order logic is extended with finiteness set predicate, which I note finite of X. And this is necessary because think of representing up to isomorphism the star consisting of one root and infinitely many adjacent nodes. So you need such a predicate to say that you have an infinite set of adjacent nodes. Well, let me say that all my trees, structures, orders, etc., are countable at most. Okay. However, this finiteness condition is monadic second order definable if the set X is a subset of a linearly ordered set. Okay, so why studying joint trees? I used them for two purposes: for defining in a proper way the modular decomposition of a countable graph, and in a different article to define the rank width of a countable graph in such a way that the rank width of a graph is the least upper bound of the rank width of all finite induced subgraphs. So this is a motivation. These are two motivations for studying these infinite objects. But anyway, I like them and I find they are interesting independently. So what is the algebra of order theoretic forest? First of all, the algebra concerns trees and forests enriched with what I call an axis. So a line is a convex linearly ordered subset. So you can think of a branch in the terminology of trees. And an axis is the distinguish such a line that is upwards closed, you see. Fact, in an order theoretic tree, the intersection of two axes is an axis. So this is due to the condition that the set of elements larger than any element is linearly ordered. Now, what are the operations? There is a unary operation called forget, means forgetting the axis. So we remove the axis and we go from a forest with possibly axis with one without. Empty omega defines the empty forest, and the star denotes a single node up to isomorphisms. And actually, we can also use letters to distinguish and to name the nodes. Okay, but the main operation is a concatenation along axis. So it is represented by these four pictures. So here you have two forests or two trees with axes, and here is the concatenation where you see that the concatenation of the two axes gives the axis of the resulting trees or forests. And here are the two other cases where you concatenate a tree or a forest without axis with one with some and something like that. And the two other cases are like that. So you see that in this case, we can handle the disjoint union because in this picture, we have two forests and we obtain the disjoint union of these two forests with the corresponding order. So here is a small example of a term with nullary symbols A, B, C, D, E that denote in an obvious way some nodes, and it defines this this tree where in red I represented the axis A, C, E. The nodes B and D, which are not on the axis, you see they are below the forget. So the forget operation removes the axis. So the subtrees coming below the forget are in substance apart from the axis. Now, every forest is defined up to isomorphisms by a term over this set F of four operations. You see, the four operations are these ones. Okay, and there are some laws which are somewhat natural. Concatenation is associative, and you have some laws. Okay. And now, proposition. The mapping from a term to a forest is monadic second order definable, which means that the ordering between the nullary symbols of the term representing the nodes of the forest is definable by a monadic second order sentence. So the proof is sketched as follows. The leaves of the term considered as a tree, as an infinite tree, that are not labeled by omega are the nodes, And for the positions in a term considered as a tree, we have the following equivalence. U and V are equivalents if there is no forget operation on the path between them. And then U is less than V in the forest, if and only if U is lexicographically less than V in the term, where positions are encoded with a Dewey notation, and V is equivalent to the join of U and V in the term. That is, there is no forget operation between V and the join of U and V. I'm sorry, this is a bit technical, but I cannot do otherwise. So I show an example of this situation. So to the left, you have a term, and to the right, you have the corresponding order theoretic tree, which is actually a finite tree here. And so you have that A, B, E, F are linearly ordered in this way. The axis consists only of B, E, F, because below that you have forget, you have forget here. Okay, and what else? For instance, C is less than E because you can go here onto the join of C and E, and between this and this, you have no forget operation. But C is not below D because C is below the least upper bound of C and D here, but between this least upper bound and D, you have a forget operation. So you see that how the structure of the forest or the tree is obtained from the term. And obviously, this type of definition is monadic second order definable. So it follows that if no tree, order theoretic tree or forest is definable, then it is regular. Because the set of terms defining no forest satisfying a monadic second order sentence is monadic second definable. This is the classical transformation of monadic second order formulas. I call that in my book the backwards translation theorem for monadic second order transductions. Hence, it follows that this set of terms is monadic second order definable. It contains a regular term, and it follows that the corresponding tree is regular. Okay. Now, the other direction is, I would say, much more complicated, and I will not give all the details. A term defines a forest, and furthermore, something more, the structuring of the forest. The lines are the axis of the forest defined by the subterm. So I show immediately an example. So here you can think of these lines of, say, difficult, dense linear orders, and your order theoretic trees is structured by an axis of level 0, and then some attached lines of level 1, and lines of level 2 attached to lines of level 1, and one line of level 3 attached to level 3. So this means that an order theoretic tree can be structured in terms of lines, and the global structure is actually a tree in the usual sense, you see. So the axis has depth 0. Okay. So I go back here. So a structuring of a forest is a partition in two lines. which are convex, linearly ordered intervals, as shown by the figure. Okay, each line has a depth. The axis has depth 0. You see, and now if G is defined by a regular term, then the corresponding structuring is regular in a certain sense, which means that each line U of the structuring induces a regular arrangement. Then they form finitely many arrangements up to isomorphism. And furthermore, each line can be augmented into a regular arrangement U plus that describes how the lines below it are connected to U. So again, I am sorry for the technicality. And these objects define what I call a finitary description of the structuring, called a regular description schemes. And then if J is a regular order theoretic tree, it has a regular description scheme. So here is a picture. You have an tree, we have an axis A, and you have these incident lines at level 1, you see. And then A is the regular arrangement of the axis. A plus is a regular arrangement over star. Star means ordinary nodes, and PQ are labels denoting how are connected below the lines. So P marks, I would say, Dedekind cuts of the ordering, and it defines the multiset BBC of 3 lines. Q defines a multiset with infinitely many occurrences of C and 1 occurrence of B. You see, and this A plus is regular. So you have a flavor of what is a regular description thing. So the key steps of the proof are as follows. A regular description scheme can be effectively constructed from the regular term. This is a relatively difficult proof. A structuring of an O4S can be specified by a partition of the set of nodes where N0 is a union of lines at even depth, and N1 the union of lines at odd depth. And a monadic second-order sentence can check if a given partition actually defines the structuring, and then the lines of the structuring can be obtained, described, and ordered to give the tree showed above. And a monadic second-order sentence can check that given J, forest, and the structuring guessed as a pair N0 and 1, this structuring matches a given regular description schemes. So the following properties of an O3 are equivalent. It is regular, it has a regular description schemes, and it is monadic second order definable with this finiteness predicate, which is useful to verify that in such a case, for instance, we have infinitely many lines isomorphic to C. Okay, corollary, the isomorphism problem for regular tree is decidable because one tree can be defined by a term, the other one by a sentence, and it remains to check that the term satisfies the sentence, which is positive. Okay, so thank you for listening. I have finished the presentation of this rather technical result.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Remarks? I have a question. If I
Yes.
consider, suppose I have a formula in monadic second order logic, and I'm asking whether it is decidable, if it is decidable on this generalized tree, then the answer is positive, yes?
So, excuse me, I have not well understood your question. So, if I am given an arbitrary monadic second order sentence,
Yes, I'm asking whether it is satisfiable in one of the trees. So input is a sentence and question whether it is satisfiable.
oh yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, of course. I mean, provided your tree is regular and
No,
say defined by a term.
no, tree is not an input. Input is on the formula, and I'm asking whether there is a regular tree where it is satisfiable.
Ah, yes, yes. Oh, ooh. Hmm. I cannot answer right away.
Okay, so it
I
is not
must think.
immediately clear, yes?
I'm not sure it is decidable, but I must think about an argument to answer the question.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you.